Both rabbits and rats are in the phylum Chordata and the class Mammalia, so they are the most alike out of all the animals we have dissected. For their respiratory systems, both of them breathe through nostrils, down the trachea, and into the lungs. This is controlled by the diaphragm muscle that lays beneath the lungs to bring in and push out air. Their lungs lay in the thoracic cavity that is protected by the rib cage. As for their digestive system, they are also very similar, seeing as they are both in the order Rodentia. The beginning of their food intake starts in the mouth, where they have very similar teeth for gnawing through tough things, which then brings the tough thing, or food, into the back of their mouth to be mechanically digested via chewing. After chewing, the partially broken down food moves down the esophagus and into the stomach. The stomach is where the chemical digestion takes place, breaking down the food even more so that when it gets into the intestine, it can properly be absorbed for nutrients. This broken down food moves through the small intestine into the big intestine, then into the colon, which reabsorbs water, absorbs electrolytes, and shapes the stool for exiting through the rectum and anus. Lastly, the reproductive system. They are both very similar once again, with external testes and internal ovaries. They both fertilize eggs via internal fertilization. The earthworm, the crawfish, and the squid and the perch all have complete digestive systems. These animals have different organs for mechanical digestion. Earthworms have a mouth that intakes food, but a crop that breaks down the fruit. Shown right there. Very hard to see, but it's in there. The crawfish has claws that take in pieces of food, but a stomach with rows of teeth mills that grind down the food. Those are the teeth mills right there. That's its mouth. That's its intestine. And those are its digestive glands. The squid has a beak which it can bite off pieces, and then a radula which breaks down the food into smaller pieces. It would be down in that bit. You can't really see the radula, and I didn't get a good picture of the beak. They all have digestive glands that produce things necessary for digestion and uptake nutrients. The food moves into the intestine, which is the same in all of these animals, along with the rectum and anus. The earthworm has simple diffusion of gas exchange through its skin, while the perch, crawfish, and squid all breathe through water, moving water over the gills. That's their gills. That's their gills. We have some distressed cat. As for the circulatory systems, the perch and squid have closed systems, meaning their blood gets to the organs via capillaries. Not that you can really see it. And the crawfish and earthworm have open circulatory systems, meaning the body cavity is filled with blood. The fish has two-chambered heart with single circulation. Shown right there. And the squid has 3 hearts. 1 to pump blood to the gills and 2 to pump blood to the rest of the body. Shown right there. And there's that one and that one, that one. And single circulation. The earthworm has aortic arches that run to the organs, and the crawfish has a heart that pumps blood from the body cavity to the gills. That's the heart of the crayfish. And the aortic arches run right in there. A perch has separate sexes, and this was selected due to the probability of finding a mate being high. It lays a lot of eggs, and the survival rate is lower in comparison to a hermaphrodite or eutherian. A crawfish has separate sexes. This was selected due to the probability of finding a mate being high. It lays a lot of eggs, and the survival rate is lower in comparison to a hermaphrodite or eutherian. An earthworm is an hermaphrodite, and this was selected due to the probability of finding a mate being low. It lays a lot of eggs, and the survival rate is high in comparison to the separate sex reproduction or eutherian. A squid has separate sexes. This was selected due to the probability of finding a mate being high. It lays a lot of eggs, and the survival rate is lower in comparison to hermaphrodite or eutherian. A rat has separate sexes. This was selected due to the probability of finding a mate being high, and it has internal embryonic development. Due to this, survival rate is high in comparison to egg-laying animals. In order to be endothermic, you have to spend a lot of energy all the time. That means you have a high metabolism and you are constantly on the search for food. Rats are very active, and having to rely on outside sources for heat means that you have to be slower to maintain energy and heat from escaping. Rats need lots of food all the time, and perches don't eat as often, which wouldn't support a rat.